as I write fragile on some of these boxes, it just reminded me that there have been moments in my life where I needed fragile written on my forehead. There have been seasons where I was trying to hold it all together, but inside I was completely falling apart. So I'm dealing with this job loss. And so I immediately, I'm thankful for the severance the employer gave me at the time. I had savings to fall back on. And so I was confident that I'm just going to get out here, apply, try to connect with people that I do know, and figure it out. But not only was I dealing with a job loss, I was also going through a friendship breakup. Nobody prepares you for the grief of a friendship not working out, not lasting. And so that's where I found myself in that same season, dealing with, and not just that one particular relationship, but other relationships and friendships changing and having to adjust because I was 2 states away. So I'm trying to look for a new job. Thankfully, I already knew what church I wanted to go to and attend. And so I started going to church and getting involved with small groups and all these things. But I did not feel like myself. And that's when I realized how burnout was really showing up in my life. I was having a hard time connecting with people. I was having a hard time sleeping. My confidence was at an extreme low, and I didn't have any joy. I even in trying to get back to doing things that I used to enjoy, going roller skating and basketball games and stuff. It was really in an attempt to just feel like me again. But I struggled for a while. I was doing all the things, but internally, deep down in my soul, there was some healing that needed to take place. And it was just kind of, I can meet people, I can go to church, I can join this small group, I can engage in these activities, and nothing is wrong with all of those things, but they were not doing for me the type of healing that I needed. And so I had to get to a deeper place in my relationship with God. Having been brought up in the church, I accepted salvation at a very young age, got baptized at a very young age. And so throughout all my life, it's like I know church, I know God, I know Christ. I know that He saved me, I believe all the things. But in this moment in my life, I had to be introduced to God in a new way. And I am not gonna cry, y'all. I knew God as Savior. I knew Him as Lord. But in that season, I had to begin to know Him as healer and redeemer and restorer because there was just so much broken in me. Because rejection is tough and it feels like it tries to steal something from you. And it does. Like it takes your confidence. It'll try to take your self-esteem. And because losing a job was exactly what it was. It was rejection, a form of rejection. And I have faced rejection in other forms of my life, but I guess all the years of rejection and all the years of feeling like I wasn't good enough and always trying to measure up to be something, it was just all coming down on me. So when I was a child, my parents would say things like, "Hey, you are a B honor roll student, so that's what we expect from you." There was no option to bring home anything on my report card lower than a B. They really pushed me academically. They pushed me to be excellent in everything, whether that was playing basketball, playing an instrument, whatever it was I was aspiring to do. It's like you show up and you give it 100%. And so that's how I always was. And that developed in me this performance based way of living. So I began to live from a place of striving to be the best, right? And so when you come from that childhood and that background, and I excel academically all throughout college and everything. And so when you excel and you're good and you get these awards and these accolades, and then you get to adulthood and you start to experience rejection and you start to experience doors and opportunities closing and layoffs, it does something to your psyche. I was just like, this don't make sense. I've always been able to strive and be and do and accomplish. And now I'm in this place where it's not happening for me. And I spent, after that third layoff, I spent roughly 7 months unemployed, rejection email after rejection email. And I was applying for jobs that I know I was more than qualified to get. And so God began to deal with that performance based way of life. And he began to show me, you can't keep living like this. You can't keep living in a way where you feel like you have to perform and always be on. And he also began to show me how living that way was carrying into my relationship with him. And so I subconsciously had this mindset that I need to perform for God. I need to do so he'll be pleased with me. And God began through these job layoffs, friendships ending, through circumstances changing, through all the things, God began to deal with that part of me and show me, hey, you do not have to perform. I love you for you. I love you the way you are. My thoughts about you were good before you were even in your mother's womb. My plans for you have always been good, to prosper you, to give you hope in a future. My thoughts concerning you are good. It's not based off what you do. It's not based off what you're able to achieve, what you're able to earn, what you're able to get. But it's just based off grace, mercy. I love you. And so as God began to heal those parts of me, I began to understand why the things that had been happening were happening and how God was changing me through these situations and these circumstances. And so, again, this is all retrospectively, because you can easily, when you're on the other side of something, it's easy to look back and be like, man, that season was needed. But in the moment, it did not feel good. Losing a job for the third time, losing a friendship. I lost my car. I think that was 2022. Maybe 23. I don't know. The last few years have been a blur, but I got rear-ended. My car was totaled. Seeing all the money in my account begin to dwindle down because I was out of work for 7 months. So at some point, the savings began to cover the bills. And I'm thankful that I had it, but it just didn't feel good, because every time I felt like I was getting to a place where I'm starting to get my foundation again, here comes something else. But all in all, God has shown me that he is my source. He is my father. He will take care of me. And that's exactly what he has done, y'all. So I'm going to let y'all in on a little bit more about what I've learned about this journey, about healing, about overcoming burnout. So stay tuned for part 3.